Now, besides the automation of processes, there are also use cases for RPA that might be beneficial for organizations. Now, these are not commonplace, and this is an area of robotic process automation that is still under development, but these use cases definitely show promise and might be applicable for your organization as well. The first other use case is rapid process prototyping. And this is basically where RPA is used to quickly look at the best way to optimize processes and look for ways to explore optimization options. So let's say we have a process in an organization and that process is executed by means of two different systems. Now we have multiple people working on these systems and they execute this process on a daily basis. Now if we want to change this process in a classical way, usually we would come up with a big design up front and we would do an analysis to see how we could optimize this process. Then we would initiate a project, hire developers to make changes to the information systems, and then after some testing, at some point in time, we would switch everybody over to the new system and the new process would be executed. Usually these would be lengthy processes and there is a lot of room for delays and errors. However, if we use rapid process prototyping, we would take a subset of the population using the actual information systems and provide them with a software robot. Then this software robot would interact with the systems and make the changes in such a way that the new process would be initiated. So we would have a small design up front that incorporates the different changes that we have, but we don't necessarily have to do an extensive research on the optimization of the process. Then we take an iterative approach where, let's say, every month we evaluate the success of the process and we build upon the success of the previous iteration. So we continue this on until we reach a point that the process is optimized. If we then at some point realize that we are moving in the wrong direction with this particular process, then we would just change the process and continue on a different route in different iterations. This is a very agile way of approaching process prototyping, and because there is not a lot of people using this particular robot, the impact of making the wrong choices with regards to the process are limited. Good examples of this are insurance agencies that are always looking for ways to optimize their processes. They usually take robotic process automation and a small subset of users to test a particular part of the process, and if it is successful, then they will apply it to the rest of the organization. So you can use RPA to quickly see if new process designs actually make sense and are effective for the organization. Another use case is legacy replacement. And legacy is definitely a problem that a lot of organizations are struggling with. See, when we have a bunch of systems in an organization that people are working on, as explained in the previous module, this is usually built on a hardware layer and there is a connection between the different applications by means of APIs. Now the user operates on each of these systems, and if we use robotic process automation, usually there's a robot beside this person that can also take care of some of the processes. However, if we push this automation to a new level, we can actually take the individual out of direct contact with the applications and have them work only with the robots that we create for them. In this case, we effectively added a new application layer on top of the applications. Now what this provides us with is an opportunity to start creating a new system with new processes and new capabilities. And we connect that system up with the rest of the systems and also make sure that the robot that the individual is working with at some point connects with the new system. So now we are in an interim state where the user can use the legacy applications but also the new application, and then we simply start turning the old system off. This is an approach that actually uses a new layer on top of the software to abstract away some of the issues that users have with migrating to new systems, and it provides you with an approach to replace legacy systems in a relatively risk-free manner. Because you have the new application layer that is based on both the old system and the new system, you can take a phased approach into getting rid of your old legacy systems without doing a big bang approach. So this is another use case for robotic process automation with regards to replacing legacy systems. Alright then, that was it for this module. Let's do a small recap before we go into the different phases of a software robot lifecycle. Alright, for a small recap of this module. First, we looked at classifying robots, and we learned that it's best to classify robots based on their characteristics. So we can look at the attendance of robots, and whether or not we need humans to be available when executing the process. We can look at the intelligence of the robot, so that is the means by which it takes decisions, and we learned that in the current state of the art, most software robots use logic as a way to interact with the environment. Another viewpoint is the way that the robot handles data. We can also look at the way that the robot interacts with the different applications. And finally, we will have to specify what the triggers and the different process steps are that we program into our robot. Then we looked at the type of processes that we can automate. And we learned that repetitive processes that usually take a long time to execute are best suited for automation. We also learned that it's feasible to have your robot operate based on logic instead of subjective criteria that usually require human input. Finally, we learned that the robots we have today still operate best based on structured data instead of unstructured data. And finally, we looked at two alternative use cases for RPA, one of which is rapid process prototyping, where we use RPA to quickly see if processes can be optimized effectively, and we explained the use case in which you can use RPA to help replace legacy systems in an organization. In the next module, we're going to take a look at the life cycle of software robots, and what steps you need to go through to effectively apply a robot within your organization, ranging from analyzing the processes to developing the robot to the maintenance phase. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next module.